Hey guys, thank you for subscribing to the channel. So today we're going to talk about Jen Shah's case and the feds wanting to give her 10 years in prison. After Jen Shah's family, including Coach Shah and her sons, wrote emotional letters to the judge asking for leniency on her sentence on January 6th, the government also came out and wrote a letter to the judge asking that Jen should get 10 years in prison. The government wrote to the judge ahead of Jen Shah's sentencing, which is happening on January 6th, and this is what they said. The Department of Justice wrote in the letter, for nearly a decade, the defendant was an integral part of a wide-ranging nationwide telemarketing fraud scheme that victimized thousands of innocent people. Many of these people were elderly and vulnerable. Many of those people had significant financial hardship and damage. At the defendant's direction, victims were defrauded over and over until they had nothing left. She and her co-conspirators persisted in their conduct until the victims' bank accounts were empty, their credit cards were at their limits, and there was nothing more to take. So the government is pointing out that Jen and her criminal buddies did everything they could to make sure they wiped out all the accounts of the elderly without a care if they would have any money left to take care of themselves for medicine or anything else. The letter went on to say the defendant was not deterred by the Federal Trade Commission's investigations or enforcement action, nor by learning that dozens of her co-conspirators had been arrested by federal law, pled guilty for their roles in the scheme, and that two were convicted at trial. So here they mean Jen Shah's assistant who testified against her and admitted that they were running scams. But you remember at this time when Jen Shah's assistant was arrested, she still maintained the fact that she was innocent and did have nothing to do with the criminal activity going on. The letter continued to say, to be clear, the defendant, Jen Shah, was not ignorant of these developments. She took a series of increasingly extravagant steps to conceal her criminal conduct from the authorities. She directed others to lie. She put businesses and bank accounts in the name of others. She required payment in cash. She instructed others to delete text messages and electronic documents. She moved some of her operations overseas, and she tried to put computers and other evidence beyond the reach of investigators. These efforts were not short-lived or narrow in scope. She engaged in years-long comprehensive effort to hide her continued role in the scheme. So the government is saying that Jen Shah knew what she was doing all this time, and she knew she was committing a criminal act, and she was doing her best to hide it, even after she had already been caught. So the letter continues to say, despite the defendant's best efforts, she got caught. She then went on a public offensive and tried to profit off the charges by selling justice for Jen merchandise. She pled guilty at the 11th hour only after receiving the government's trial exhibits and witness statements. In light of her conduct and her post-arrest behavior, her belated expressions of remorse ring hollow. The defendant is the most culpable person charged in this case. For the reasons set forth below, she should be sentenced to a term of 120 months in prison, which is 10 years. And the police are right, because season 3 of Salt Lake City was already after the investigations went public, and Jen Shah continued to claim that she is innocent. And according to this letter, Jen Shah only pled guilty because they had too much evidence against her and she was definitely going to jail, so her best bet was to plead guilty. So what do you guys think? Should Jen Shah get 10 years or the 3 years she's asking the judge to give her? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.